it, you've got to really dig down deep and persevere, because people will tax the shit out of you, and you know it's an enormous amount of effort and work for the smallest scraps of joy and success.
I mean, everybody's going to tell you when you're doing original music and you're trying to follow your own direction, everybody's going to tell you you're screwing up.
And we were all doing this in the 80s when, you know, people were actually interested in live music. Now it's a DJ culture. It's like, you know, you want to play live music? Woo!
So, you know,
you gotta have a hard enough time finding venues to play it in.
Well,
don't set the goal of getting rich.
Remember your audience is,
you know,
what the kind of music that you're doing too, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to do it because you really want to do it.
With me, I wanted to hear my songs performed.
Right, that was
I
me
mean,
too.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
for me, it was like, even if they said, okay, Rick, we found a better player than you, but we still want you to write the music for the band.
You'd have been fine with that.
I would have done it.
I mean,
I would have just been the writer. And
a lot of times, I don't really like performing live all that much. It's kind of a necessary evil for me. Yeah. So, you know, I'm perfectly happy creating the music. Yeah. That's the most fun I have.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy the most.
I mean, especially in this day and age, if you can do it for the creative outlet that it is and the joy that it is intrinsic in playing music, and not have it be because we want to be rock stars or we want to make our living doing this.
If somebody tells you they want to make your living doing this, run as fast as you can, run the other way.
One of the best things I ever did, in my entire life, was to not go to Berklee College of Music when I had the opportunity to do so. And I went and got a real college degree instead of a degree in music. If you are obsessed with music and you want to play, play. Do not go to college for music. Do not go to school for music. Play music and go to school for something else.
Well, but that's not saying that you should be a student.
Study music, but do not go and get, for example, your education at GIT or Berklee.
I totally agree.
Or some place that's going to take your money, teach you music, which will not be applicable to any kind of making a living in the real world.
Right.
You can play the music and you can learn it through guitar teachers, through lessons, through anything.
There's a billion
different ways. If you're going to go to college, go to college and get an education in something that you can actually make a living in that's guaranteed. A real profession. It doesn't mean you may not strike it rich playing music, but for everybody, whoever I knew who went to school for music, what they do now for a living is sell guitars or teach guitars.
Or teach. Yeah.
The thing is, when you go there to those kind of places, though, it's like it's a training. I mean, they will teach you to be technically proficient and destroy your originality in a way that somehow everybody comes out
sounding like the same Berklee
better,
guitarist, yeah.
But they all sound alike. Whatever made you special to start with, you had to trade that in.
And if they can't make it in the music industry, they can't make it anywhere else.
I don't really notice that so much with the Berklee guys, but
it's
definitely the GIT
No, it's
guys.
definitely true the Berklee guys. All the Berklee guys ended up sounding the same.
It just, it bothered, when people develop on their own, they may not be as good, they may not be as technically proficient, but a lot of times I end up liking their work more. They do something that nobody else is doing. And they don't even know how they learned it or where they came up with it, but it's original.
For every super schooled musician and super schooled guitarist you have out there, you have the Jeff Becks who were never schooled. You have the guys who never went to school for it. Who was it? Was it Page or was it? I think it was Beck. No, it was Gary Moore who said, I never understood going to school for guitar. I always played guitar to get out of going to school.
Right.
And the point is, you can have these two things, both of these things, and have them separately. And you can learn as much music as you want, but don't pay a college to teach it to you. Pay a college to teach you something else.
Yes.
You're probably going to need a day job.
Yeah, because until you make it big in the music world, you're going to need something.
Well, and I think some of the other, you know, like local full-time guys that I know that don't have day jobs, it's like work to them. Like, music is fun for us. Like, that's all we want to do. But these guys are like, oh, gotta go sit in that music store for 8 hours.
Or worse.
And
some of the best players I've ever known, guys who are total killers, who've had to do wedding and bar mitzvah gigs.
There you go.
They get to the point where
right.
they don't even want to open their guitar case. They are so sick of
It's
playing.
torture.
It's like, I don't even want to look at the guitar anymore because I'm not playing what I want to play, but I have to play it.
Right.
Instead, if you keep it something that's a love and hope that, you know, you're getting your creative rocks off through playing and writing, and then you do something else to make your money, you have the best of both worlds. You have money to buy what you want to buy when you see cool gear.
Yeah.
And then you have the ability to play your art for art's sake and for the love of it. And
You put Ted to sleep.
yeah. This is what
I'm sorry,
happens.
fellas.
It's alright, bro.
But I've
Mr.
got to
Ted
the
has
point
left
now
the
where
building.
I'm very fortunate that all my years of doing this are finally paying off, where I kind of have it just perfectly balanced, where I am playing music that I love to play, I am making money, I'm playing with people that are of the same or better caliber that I am, because that was always the downfall, like being like, you know, the best guy, or like there was like 2 good guys and 3 guys that sucked, or you know, there was always like a weak link, and we were always
singer.
compromising in some way, you know what I mean? And so now I feel like I'm, you know.
Oh, here's another one. The lead singer will dick you eventually.
Yeah,
But you have to have them.
in one way or another.
Yeah.
Well,
They
not
have to be-
necessarily.
The lead singer will leave for the next best gig, for the next better gig that comes along.
And a lot of them get that Elvis sort of like, you know, that they're the freaking star.
As soon as you get a
syndrome,
singer who's good enough to do all the stuff you want to do, they are going to find the band that does it better than you and leave.
or somebody else will find that. But
Right.
I've always found the other thing is to learn how to sing and play.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any talent at all for singing and you can do it yourself.
And if you can stick with a 3-piece band,
The fewer musicians and personalities you have to deal with, the better off you are.
Absolutely.
Which is why a lot of us are home recording by ourselves and doing it by
We play
ourselves.
with ourselves.
Yeah.
right?
So once you have some songs, how do you go about sharing it with the rest of the band, teaching them, playing things together, and how do you tell the bassist not to play the bass line and play this other bass line you had in mind without breaking his heart?
I hand out tapes. I hand out tapes and I tell people to learn them.
Well, I mean that's pretty much for like original music, I would think, rather than if you're playing cover songs,
Yeah, and
right?
covers, you just better know it.
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
I mean, cover
it's-
songs.
It's like, if that's not the bass line, play the bass line that's on the album.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're not the guy who's going to do that, we'll get somebody who can play the bass
Right.
line.
So if you were to give somebody
There's 50 other guys that can do it.
Right.
give somebody a tape of like a bass player and give him a tape with no bass on it and say, come up with your own bass line, and he comes up with the bass line
And it sucks.
and you don't like it,
Yeah. Well,
and you say, hey man, I want something else, and he's gonna cry about that, you know.
I mean, you can try and be a little diplomatic and
Yeah.
say, hey, you know, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind. Can we work on this together a little bit? But you better have some ideas then of what you had in mind.
Yeah.
That's why I started doing everything myself, because I could just say, this is what I had in mind, this is what I hear.
Yeah, at some point it
Right.
becomes...
Well, you have the vision, and that's
Yeah.
what so many
It's-
people
and it's
lack,
like, if
and
you
that's
can
why
make
they
it-
fail.